Hi, everyone out there in our Women's Net community. Welcome to a chat with our three June 2026 grant winners. Today, I have the great pleasure of speaking with Hannah Nassiri of VASCH, who's our startup grant winner. Our startup grant, as you probably know, is for entrepreneurs in the early phase of developing their business who haven't yet hit $10,000 in sales. Some are still really just working on the idea, and others have a product that they're selling. Megan Schaugaard of Art Easily is our business specific grant winner. The business specific category changes every month. For June, it was business support services. And Schola Eburuoh of FiXA is our Amber grant winner. The Amber grant, our longest running grant, is open to all women business owners in the US and Canada. And I'm Marsha Layton Turner. I'm a member of the Women's Net Advisory Board, and usually every other month-ish, I get the opportunity to learn more from our fabulous winners. So Hannah, Megan, and Scala, thank you so much for making the time to speak with me and to give us a chance to learn about your businesses. So let's kind of start from the beginning, and I'll ask each one of you just to tell everyone a little bit about your company, what you sell, where you got the idea, and how things are going. And Hannah, let's start with you.
Sure. VASCH is a circular economy materials company, and that transforms wood ash, something that most people don't think twice about, into sustainable products. I'm developing a natural ingredient for eco-friendly cleaners as well as biodegradable packaging material made from biomass ash. And the whole idea is taking a waste stream that usually ends up in landfill and turn it into something valuable again. The inspiration came from a mix of personal history and professional experience. I've always cared deeply about the environment. And I remember even as a kid, I used to collect all my scrap papers throughout the school year. And at the end of the school year, I asked my dad to drive me across the town to the only recycling facility center that we had in town by then. And later, as a chemical engineer, I became fascinated by plastics and how difficult they are to deal with environmentally at the end of their life. So the spark for VASH came during a quiet moment by a campfire as I was watching the ash settle by the fire. And I remember that my grandma used to use ash to scrub pots and pans, and that memory stayed with me. And later, when I figured that today millions of tons of wood ash go straight to the landfill, just something just clicked, and I realized that I could bring together tradition, science, and sustainability and build something meaningful. That's how VASH was born, from a very personal place, but also from a desire to create something practical and impactful.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Megan, tell us about Art Easily. Where did the idea come from? What do you sell? What do you do?
Okay. Art Easily is a software as a service product that is a platform for visual artists to be able to run their art business from one place. So where this started, I guess, is I've always been a creative child, like an artist from the beginning. Um, I knew that I loved the arts. I went to school and took an oil painting class and fell in love with it. And I just knew it was something that I wanted to keep doing. I got married after college and had some children, and I do art on the side. And then eventually, when our kids got old enough, like we had our daughter going into school full time, and I thought I would love to get my MFA to teach art to other people, to spread this love for art and technique. And I wanted to get an MFA. So I looked into schools, and really my dream school was in New York, where I really felt like I would get the skills for technical ability to be able to just really pursue what I wanted to do and then be able to teach it. And I got accepted to the school that I wanted to go to, and COVID hit. And so my husband, he works as a developer and he can work from wherever. And we thought like that was our original plan, is to take our whole family to New York and just have an experience there while I went to school. But with COVID, he ended up staying here with the kids and I went by myself. And so there was a lot of sacrifice there. Like, obviously, nobody knew how long it was going to last, but I continued school there for 2 years, traveling back when I was able to. Of course, there were a lot of travel, restrictions during that time. But after graduating, well, I really appreciated the time there and I had experiences that I really wouldn't have had otherwise. Like a really great group of mentors there. When I came home, I knew I wanted to I absolutely wanted to make art and I wanted to work at the college or in my hometown, but there were no opening positions, so I took a part-time job there. And also another job with Streamline Publishing for Fine Art Connoisseur and Plein Air magazines. And it was just too much for me to put together that whole, you're wearing so many different hats as an artist running a business, right? And so I thought, I can do my art on the side, kind of build that up. But as I was working there, I noticed more artists running into these same problems that I was, where we're trying to be an entrepreneur, a social media manager. You're having to keep track of so many files, like your artwork and your statements and bios, and keeping everything organized and websites up to date. And so I noticed that there was a problem where we were just juggling too many things in too many different places. And so, talking with other artists, I decided to leave Streamline and was talking with my husband, who's the developer, and I said, there needs to be a better way where we can keep track of all of our art business needs in one platform for artists to just make it easy so that you don't have to jump or bounce around and it's just one easy pathway to create an art business and make it sustainable. And so we put together a platform for visual artists to be able to keep all their artwork records and their images, important resume records, contacts, event management, sales, integrations to like e-newsletter providers, the ability to push to social media, print on demand. We've found a partner to help us with that. And then also everything just seamlessly pushes to a website. So they're not keeping track and then having to duplicate and do the manual entry to go into another area. And we've also worked with art organizations on the other end, doing the calls for entries to make this a more seamless process for those submitting to calls for entry as well as those who are doing the calls for entry. So
This is so interesting because my dad was a fine artist and he did not keep great records. I wish that your software was around, 20, 30 years ago, because I come across paintings of his that nobody knew existed
yes,
because there was no
yes,
central repository for all that information. So great idea.
thank you.
Schola, tell us about FiXA.
Happy to. It's so great to hear Megan and Hannah about your work and where it's all come from. It's just really cool. We just meeting each other on the spot. But FiXA, we like to call FiXA the handy person in your pocket that also helps you to become more handy yourself. You basically go on to heyfixa.com. You can snap a photo or describe an issue that you're having in your home as a homeowner, and you get step-by-step guidance on how to fix that item or that thing or do that repair yourself for those easy fixes. And in Greater Philadelphia, we've launched our contractor network as well, which is mostly / all now women contractors and local family-owned contracting businesses that we're scaling, and we vetted well and we use them in our own homes. And it's been such an amazing opportunity to build it. It began in a funny way in a class actually at MIT. Me and my co-founder Sophia, we started it together, been building it together. And before we met, she had a drain issue and she'd been dealing with this drain issue for months. She had a contractor come through. He said, oh, it's easy. Just use a drain snake. You'll be fine. She bought a drain snake, didn't work, and she was showering in the gym for months. Like, we were talking, we met in this class, and in the class, you're like supposed to build a business based on a problem you're having every day. And this is the problem. So her showering in the gym was all we talked about. And then my refrigerator also broke down. So we just both had these issues in our homes that we're kind of just adding to a stress that we didn't really need, obviously, in our lives. So we had the idea of, what if we could help other people, especially women, just understand what's going on in their home and get some guidance, even if it's just that first step, instead of the anxiety of, okay, do I call another person? Is that person going to also try to rip me off? Or, what should I do next? Is this even safe for me to try? So that became FiXA. Again, you snap a photo and you get that education right off the bat. And it was built as a part of this MIT class and scaled because we got to pitch it and heard so much great feedback from contractors who wanted to, support when people couldn't do it themselves, because there are things that we shouldn't touch, as well as a lot of women homeowners. We're 21% of single women are owning homes now in the US. So we're really trying to support ourselves and each other in this journey towards home ownership. So that way, in my research and my work focused on affordable housing, I've worked with Habitat for Humanity, an amazing nonprofit, for over 10 years, really trying to solve the issue of once you're in the home, it's a celebration. It's amazing to own your home and have a place that you can call home for your family as well. But then when something goes wrong, it's always like that gut-wrenching feeling of, okay, is this going to be it? Like it could become so expensive. So that's what FiXA is meant to solve, is no more contractor anxiety or anxiety about home repair issues. It really is confidence starting at home.
Love it. How far is your service area around Philly? I have friends and family in northern Delaware.
Oh, great. Yeah, we get down to Delaware. Yes, we do. We're in the greater
Okay.
area and even New Jersey as well. And we're quickly building a network. But
Excellent.
anyone can use the DIY portion, the repair portion of the site.
Love it. Awesome. Thank you. So fascinating to hear all the different origin stories. So I'd love to talk now about the resources that you found especially helpful as you were thinking about your company or already involved in operating it. Thinking about the women's net community and the women who are thinking about maybe building their own business. Like what's one resource that you might suggest to women in your shoes a few years ago? And Megan, let's start with you. Was there a resource that you found really helpful?
I really feel like mentors at school, like my thesis advisor, he spoke a lot about business, I think, and put those ideas in my head, making me know that it's not just about your technical skills, because you can be an amazing artist and still not have the tools to make a business out of something that you love and are passionate about. But also, I feel like listening to podcasts about other founders, I think when we have our mindset shifted and like thinking about, oh, this is how they did it. And of course, it's a different path for each person, but I really appreciated like SaaS podcasts, so software as a service podcasts. I really like Anatomy of a Dream podcast. Listening, they interview CEOs and talk about like the breakdown of like how their business began and what they did to execute. But also, I feel like one of the most important things I think is mindset. I'm not necessarily like a type A, take command type of a person. And so thinking about myself as a CEO, I felt like I felt a little bit of imposter syndrome. I remember reading the book by Simon Sinek that's about Start With Why. And I felt so much more confidence knowing that I was passionate about something and that I have a passion for people and I want to make a difference. And that's what you can start with. And I think that that helped me get the confidence that I needed to move forward and just know like I can do this. I think it's just like a lot of the mindset and just surrounding yourself with those people with those mindset too.
Love it. Schola, how about you? What resources are any one or maybe two that you found really useful?
Yeah, I totally agree with Megan. I feel like surrounding yourself with other founders is super helpful. And even if you don't physically have other founders, like she mentioned, podcasts, we thankfully, being in like the Harvard MIT space, we were really part of the Harvard Innovation Lab and have a really great mentor, Tom, I'm going to shout him out, who just encourages us to continue to push at this idea to kind of find the nitty-gritty things that interest us about it. Me and Sophia, my co-founder, were both trained architects too. So thinking about why we were so interested in things breaking down and putting them back together, well, it kind of made sense naturally. Like people who will encourage you in that mission that you're building, because it can become really lonely and having to be your own CEO can be really difficult at times. So yeah, surrounding yourself with those people for support, and then also just validating your idea through talking to people as well. Like a big piece of what we were building was we saw it ourselves, of course, with Sophia's drain. But we talked to like over 100 homeowners and just asked them the problem. I would sit at coffee shops and just so someone new sat next to me, I just asked them, so what's the most annoying thing that's happening in your home? And some people were really happy to answer that question. I had like the longest conversations with strangers, and it just humanizes what you're working on, you know? It's not just you, it's not, you're actually solving someone's problem, you're solving a pain point. And actually I've made some good friends through that. So I would say just you surround yourself with good people and understanding, you know, that your problem is worth solving.
Excellent. And Hannah, how about you?
I've been really fortunate to have support around me. One of the very first resources that I found was a weekend project at Queen's University here in Kingston, Ontario, Canada. And I joined them right at the beginning when the idea for VASCH had just come to me, and I didn't know where to start. So Weekend project was designed to support women entrepreneurs in the Kingston area. And it gave me a place to start, a community, guidance, and a sense of kind of like feeling that I'm not alone doing this. And but unfortunately, the program ended earlier this year, but it played a really important role in helping me take my first steps. And after that, Launch Lab, which is a regional innovation center for entrepreneurs here in Kingston again, became a big part of my journey. They were one of the first organizations that believed in what I was building, and they helped me get into the Spark Center entrepreneurial cohort, which ended up being all female entrepreneurs. And during the 6 months of the program, we supported each other, we shared challenges, and we learned together. And that sense of community was incredibly great. And in one of the final sessions that was about raising funds, that was when I heard the Amber Grant for the first time. Yeah, and then also Launch Lab introduced me to Invest Ottawa as well as Mars Discovery District, where I've worked with market intelligence advisors, and they helped me dig into market analysis and competitor research and really understand where the white space for VASH is, and where VASH has the strongest opportunities, especially in consumer brand products, and also biodegradable non-food packaging that doesn't compete with crops, because VASH is circular and uses waste valorization. The price point can be really competitive, much more competitive with traditional gluten single-use plastics, which is a huge advantage for VASH. And on the technical side, I've also been fortunate to collaborate with researchers at Loyalist College in Belleville, Ontario, and more recently with Carleton University. Their applied research capabilities has been really valuable as VASH advances its R&D and moves into pilot development. But honestly, I'm going to echo what others mentioned, connecting with other women entrepreneurs, hearing their stories, their resilience has been the most supportive resources of all. It reminded me, even though I'm a solo founder, I'm not alone in the journey.
Excellent. Sounds like Canada has some really great resources for entrepreneurs. I love hearing about them. So, So now let's talk a little bit about marketing, because I think that's where a number of entrepreneurs get tripped up. They don't really know how to invest their time or their resources. So let me ask each of you if you have one, or what the best marketing strategy has been that you've discovered so far. And you may have tested a few, but like if you were going to recommend to a women entrepreneur that you need to try this, like what would that one thing be? And Schola, let's start with you.
Oh, that's a good question. I'd say the number one marketing strategy for us has been relationship driven.
Mm.
Again, like harping on my background with Habitat for Humanity, they were one of our first partners, and they're utilizing FiXA for their workshops, their home repair workshops. And from there, connecting with them, they have other organizations that they work with doing a similar projects, and that's across multiple counties in Pennsylvania. So like beginning that like very local relationship, connecting with organizations, especially if we're a consumer product, but there are businesses, nonprofits, or other organizations and institutions who are connected to those homeowners. So when I'm not around going to coffee shops and talking to people directly, I'm sending a great email or hopefully getting a coffee chat with a mentor in those spaces in housing that connect to homeowners directly.
Love it. Very smart. Hannah, how about you? What's one marketing strategy that you might recommend that has worked well for you?
Sure. Right now, because I'm still in the R&D and validation stage, my marketing is really about understanding the market and building awareness. The work that I've done with Invest Ottawa and Mars has helped me understand where VASH fits and what makes it unique. That foundation is shaping how I communicate the story. I found out that people really connect with the origin of VASH, the campfire moment that I mentioned earlier, the environmental mission, and the idea of turning waste into something valuable. So I've been focusing on storytelling and sharing the journey in a way that feels authentic and human. It's less about selling right now, and it's about more about inviting people into the mission. And as I move toward higher TRLs and pilot scale, I would love to explore partnerships with corporate sustainability programs. Many large consumer brands have ambitious packaging goals. And so once my products are ready, I would love collaborating with the companies that are actively looking for biodegradable alternatives. And because that's a powerful way to bring VASH into the market. I'm not at the stage of naming specific brands yet, but collaborating and partnering with the companies that are committed to sustainability is definitely a part of my long-term strategy. I see marketing as something that grows naturally as the product grows.
Excellent. And Megan, how about you? What's a marketing strategy that's worked for you or that you're exploring?
I'd have to say that by far we've seen the most success by just talking with artists. And just getting their feedback and then them loving it and sharing it with other people. But also we went to a convention where it is focused on plein air artists and it just was such a natural conversation while we were there talking about the problems that they felt like they ran into and that we were a solution for that. I think by far being at the event in person and being able to talk to them one-on-one, because I feel like we're in a very digital space and I understand we can't be in person all the time, but being able to have that human connection and them understanding that I knew about the problems too that they were going through and that we're building something to help.
Right. And now finally, what's one thing that our community, which is tens of thousands of women business owners, what's one thing we can do to support you, whether that's, visiting your website, checking out your products, signing up for a newsletter? What's one thing? And Hannah, let's start with you.
Sure. The biggest easiest way to support VASH is simply to help spread the word, share the story, talk about the mission, and vote when the time comes. And I'm building something that's still early, but it has the potential to make a real environmental impact. So having a community behind me means a lot. And connections are also incredibly helpful, whether it's introductions to eco brands, to sustainability focused organizations, or to people who care about circular materials. And honestly, even just encouragement and visibility make a difference. Knowing that there's a community to cheer me on gives me the momentum to keep pushing forward. And support doesn't have to be always a big one. So even small gestures can make a meaningful difference at this stage for me.
Wonderful. Thank you. Megan, how about you?
Oh, with the resources or
No,
marketing?
what's one thing that the Women's Night community can do to support
Oh,
you?
Of course. We are looking for other people who are passionate about helping artists, and we want to collaborate with them to like build the communities that we need in this space. Like we've built the platform, we have the tech and the tools, and now I think we need like wonderful people who care about the arts, and especially in this day and age where AI is kind of taking over so much. I really think we need to keep the arts alive, and I do feel like there's more of a value for handmade and unique items, something that resonates with being human. And we just want to build a community around that. So it's like having all the people on our platform, but then also people who are coaching artists. We want to be able to help them, their artists, to have the resources that we've built and to be able to just train artists so that it's just a more sustainable business in the arts for those helping the arts, organizations, people who are passionate about the arts. So, and then of course, also visiting our website and following our social media, those type of things can help support us as well. But I think definitely like spreading the word about if you know a visual artist that we have the answers and we're excited about building a community that's excited about the arts.
Terrific. Schola, how about you?
I would love for everyone to take a look at heyfixa.com and share the site with a woman you know who owns a home. As simple as that. It's a completely free site too to use a DIY guide. We want to keep it open source and education based, especially if you're anywhere. But that woman who, just messaged in your group chat that she has a leaky faucet or wants to completely remodel her home, or your sister who just bought her first home. That's the moment that FiXA was built for, and we'd love to support you and the friends and those around you.
Excellent. Well, thank you three so much for sharing your stories with us, and congratulations again on being our 3 June grant winners.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.